What's up, YouTube? This is just going to be a follow-up video regarding how to best heat up materials and solid substances for diamond making, as well as for making precious metals and other precious rocks as well, whether they are heated to hundreds or thousands of degrees of temperature or not is irrelevant to this, because highly irrelevant to this because you just don't, it doesn't, to get precious materials and substances for the reasons I've said remains the same. Reasons and evidence. So anyway, if you really want to make precious rocks and precious metals, one of the things I did mention is you can do it for free with an everlasting candle, or do it with a candle that isn't an everlasting candle. However, I have gone over why the complications of that make it not very desirable for at least if you're doing it with the candle that isn't everlasting candle. However, I did mention that for an everlasting candle, it's desirable in a lot of ways that a regular candle isn't desirable for what I'm talking about. However, that does not mean that I was 100% right about what I said about the everlasting candle approach. Last I spoke of it, I tried to say that everlasting candles are not necessarily very expensive, and they're very much affordable with a regular level of income. Even low income people can afford a everlasting candle very easily. I'd say rather just at least purchase one. Once you have one, yeah, I mean, you could just use it indefinitely and heat up your rocks with that. And you won't have to, of course, go to hundreds or thousands of degrees. The great thing about the everlasting candle is that it does the job, and it never runs out of fuel, and it never runs out of the components never wear down for being able to heat up your rock and make it more transparent or make it more dark to become a precious dark rock or to become a precious transparent rock. So it's the best approach, I'd say, of all the approaches that I've described. So I would say that basically, if with this being the case, I would say that what you should really do is get an everlasting candle. However, you don't have to actually purchase an everlasting candle to have an everlasting candle. I have mentioned that it's possible to make your own. However, I did mention that the process required takes a while, and you wouldn't be saving very much money from making one versus buying one. However, I actually have realized there's a way to make one without having to spend any money. And all the people that say you do have to purchase some kind of materials to make one are liars, because they just want you to buy their product and not think about it for yourself. All you really need is a piece of metal, or a really strong piece of scrap metal, or a really strong solid substance that can conduct heat very well without breaking down. Just depends on what temperature you go to, of course, but if you go to low levels of temperature, you can just take a candle wick. A candle wick from any candle. Just take it, attach it to your solid substance, which is your base, which is pretty much the same base as what you'd have if you had an everlasting candle, and just put it on it, attach it somehow safely, and then just keep it situated on there and light it up, and it will, you know, of course, you know, the wick will hold the flame, and it will never ever go out, ever. And your base will not get hot enough to break down. Your wick will not get hot enough to break down. And that's all you have to do. You just have to take a wick from a candle or any alternative that can withstand the heat of a small candle flame and absorb the heat, but never get hot enough in doing so to actually break down. Which again, every candle wick already can do that anyway. All you have to do is attach it to some base that doesn't break down. You know, candle wax breaks down because it melts, because it can't withstand it. Versus pieces of metal or rocks can withstand it without breaking down. At least if you're using low levels of temperature. If you're using high levels, it's not the case. But again, as I've explained already, you don't actually need hundreds or thousands of degrees of temperature to make your rocks precious, following the steps I described. So all you really need is the base and a candle wick, and just do that, and you can, you know, make your rock or metal progress into whatever level of precious you want over time with limitless fuel and components for doing it. So, well, that's all for this video. Thanks.